for Naughty by Nature.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of the Matt Levine My Generation podcast. Of course, with my co-host Noah Levy, and we have a special guest to discuss Miss Borkowski's English class, a year in review. So, Kyle, how are you doing?
Good. Thank you for having me.
And for all those who are listening, this podcast is now out on all platforms, so please make sure to listen to our regular episodes, which come out every Thursday. But let's get into it. So, year in review. I remember the first day when I stepped into Miss Borkowski's class. I was definitely a little intimidated. I was wearing my white Pearl Jam shirt. Kyle, what do you remember about that?
I had no idea what I was like walking into. I didn't know anything about the class until I talked to you guys. I didn't realize that the second day of class we were going to have an essay. I was very scared, but it turned out okay.
Yeah, I remember Kyle and his everyone being shocked that he was from Japan. That was the highlight of that first day for me.
And I feel like Kyle kind of came into it blind, and he stuck with it. He always rolled with the punches. Maybe it was because Noah and I were always there to comfort him. But I remember the Into the Wild essay, and what was it like to walk in that Monday and having to write an essay on literally like the second or third day of school?
I was kind of panicking because at my old school the classes were 80 minutes long, so we would have like more time to write an essay. Mm-hmm. So I felt like I was also kind of rushed, but I kind of got used
definitely
to it.
A time crunch, but it was all good.
Yeah,
I like to talk about it a little later. Like 3 weeks in school, there was a little incident with the sub.
Oh my goodness.
Matt was organizing like a cult.
Yeah.
Matt was the leader of the revolt against the sub, but then his identity still remains a secret until now, until it's out.
Well,
so,
yeah,
Miss Borkowski, if you're watching this, it was Matt who organized the revolt against the sub.
And that was 2-3 weeks into school, and I remember Miss Borkowski, she was so mad at us, and I was just scared. I was beyond scared that like she knew that it was me. Good thing she doesn't know.
Truth always comes out.
Yeah, up until this point. But let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to our first literature circle. We have the things they carry. It was the first time that all three of us got to work collectively together, and it definitely was interesting. Noah, you wanna talk about that?
But yeah, there was definitely one clear slacker in the group from day one. It was Matt. You know, he wasn't tugging like his own weight. So me and Kyle had to carry him a little bit, but we brought him along. He's grown. Matt has grown as a writer since then, and it's been very good.
There were a few arguments, but I think we were able to push through it.
I have to say, I think Malcolm X and the things they carried in the first marking period, I think those were two of the better books that we read. I really liked the things they carried. I really wish we had time to read it all, but I thought that was a pretty good story, and it was definitely not the darkest story, but it kind of gave us a sense of everything that we were going to be reading pretty early on in the year. Let's talk about a little bit of us outside of school. So during that school year before COVID hit, we had our basketball team run through the JCC, the Hanukkah Hoopers. So what was it like to go to school Monday to Friday, but then play games for the Hanukkah Hoopers every Sunday?
Yeah, it was a privilege, really. It was a privilege. Looking forward to every Sunday. New game, new week, new challenge. We weren't very good, but we improved as the season went on. And yeah, Kyle, you want to add?
I mean, we may have not been good, but we had fun. That's the matter.
Is that really all you're gonna add? You're gonna add a cliche?
Kyle was a bit of a letdown. We thought he was gonna be the star from Japan, but
The man
we
from
expect
Japan.
more next season, Kyle. We expect more next season.
I mean, you know, the grind never stops, so I'll be there next season.
So we're talking about the winter now, and so then kind of pretty much we had January, February.
Well, can we say I won the fantasy football season?
Oh yeah, you did win the fantasy football season. I remember that. And that was definitely during the things they carried lit circle. I was definitely a little angry at you during that time, which is why I think we had some of our spurts.
I mean, this upcoming year, I'm gonna be 1 for 1.
But anyway, so we're kind of going through that school year, trying to get to the end. We're in the third marking period, and then all of a sudden COVID hits. And when COVID initially came to Scotch Plains or came into the United States, what did you guys think was going to be the end result of it?
I mean, I thought school was gonna end up being, like, canceled, like, inevitably, but, like, I didn't really know when, and I didn't know for how long.
Well, Kyle, you had friends in Japan, right? Who had school canceled already. So like,
yeah,
it was a little different for you. I was not expecting it. Like when Matt and I went to DECA, like I remember my dad. Yeah, in Atlantic City, my dad telling me the only people's hands you should be shaking are the judges. And I was like, this is absurd. Like what?
Yeah.
Like this is crazy. But it turned out a lot bigger than that.
It definitely. I just want to touch on our field trips. Noah and I, we went on a lot of field trips this year. I think we
missed way too much.
We missed a lot of school, and I remember some days we would go up to Miss Borkowski, and at first I was a little scared to like tell her that we were gonna be gone the next day because it just happened so often, and I just found it so funny that we would miss.
The response is always just check the schedule. Check the schedule.
Check the schedule.
So,
like 1 month, you guys like
yeah.
for like 1 month, you guys like missed like maybe like half of the like school day.
Yeah, I remember from like right up until Thanksgiving, from the end of October up until Thanksgiving, I missed all those Fridays. And Noah, didn't you miss like 5 straight Wednesdays?
Yeah, I missed 5 straight Wednesdays over the course of 5 straight.
But the funniest thing was it was all excused absences. But anyway, going back to COVID. During COVID, we were definitely getting some work from school. The first 2 weeks weren't so bad, but then we transitioned to online learning, and we were definitely getting a little bit more work. Noah, do you want to tell us about your side project a little bit?
My side project?
Yeah, DJ Vanilla Mustard.
That's right.
So then during COVID, we began to transition into online learning. We began to read Ethan Frome. What were you guys' initial reactions about Ethan Frome?
I kind of found it like annoying to read like off the computer. I just thought like it's a lot different than like what we used to do in class. I feel like I had to get used to it, but it is okay.
Yeah, it says here in our planning doc, Ethan Frome fights, which I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. Okay,
I don't know about that.
There were some disagreements, but there was never.
If we want to talk about disagreements, I think we have to go back one book to Catcher in the Rye. Catcher in the Rye, which was my favorite because you guys know why it was my favorite.
Where you at?
But those Catcher in the Rye literature circles, those would get loud and those would get intense.
I mean, that's every single lit circle kind of got loud.
No, it's because you twist the truth. You just take something that's in the book that applies to something else, and then you make it apply to whatever you want to say, and it's horrible.
See, I disagree there. I have a different interpretation than you. I try to connect it to world events in today's society, but
when it has nothing to do with anything. That's the
see,
problem.
that's where I disagree because you could take it wherever you want. But let's not get into an argument on our end of the year project here. But so COVID, Noah and I decided to start a podcast. Noah began to co-host with me. And I think COVID has allowed us, as terrible as it is and as awful as it is, COVID has allowed us to focus on things that we would never get to focus on. during a busy week at school. So, Kyle, how have you been taking advantage of the not that much work in an easier schedule?
Honestly, I haven't really been doing much. I kind of caught up on a lot of shows, but
So, are you telling us Noah and I were the only ones who are working here?
Nothing new.
I mean, I've been starting to try to work on my SAT, but it kind of died out.
So, do you guys have any final thoughts? Do we want to talk about Rocket League, Kyle, or do we not want to talk about Rocket League, Kyle?
I don't know up to you.
The Legend of Rocket League, Kyle? No, say that for a different time. Well, Kyle, thank you for coming on. Noah, as always, you're a great co-host. And Miss Borkowski, my friends in Period 1 English, it was a pleasure to be with you guys this year. It was a pleasure to learn from you guys. Robbie, it was a pleasure to talk politics. And just please check out the Matt Levine My Generation podcast out on all platforms. Thank you, and good day.